guys, today we're going to talk about glowy, easy, minimal makeup. I'm filming this a week out, so anything can happen, but I'm assuming we're still in lockdown or on lockdown in the UK and not really going anywhere. And so I've pulled some stuff from my makeup drawers that I think work for this kind of makeup, but also we're going to kind of feature this Lumene Instant Glow Fresh Skin Tint. This was sent to me. I do have a code for Look Fantastic. You can get 20% off most things with Miss Budget. I don't think I get any kind of kickback for that. Use it, don't use it. If there's a better code, use that one. But I'm mentioning it because they sent me this item and they gave me a code. So I've mentioned this tons and tons over the past few months. They sent me it way back, maybe before Christmas? I can't remember. It was ages ago. It was definitely before Christmas. Was it before Christmas? Either way, I really didn't appreciate how amazing it was until we went into isolation and I started kind of rummaging through for tinted moisturisers and things that I felt I could use on a day-to-day basis without feeling that I was caked in heavy makeup, and this was the thing that really appealed to me. So I've used this a lot in Instagram videos and I've mentioned it in my vlogs, and I've had so many questions to the point where a lot of you are searching for Lumene Skin Tint to find my channel and my videos, so I thought we would do a video specifically highlighting this product. The colour that I've got is Universal Medium, and I would never in a million years buy something called Universal Medium. I would have thought that's going to be way too deep for me. And you'll see as I apply it, it is a relatively deep colour, but it's so sheer, it really doesn't matter too much which colour, I mean, you know, within reason, which colour you're going to get. I wouldn't worry too much about kind of colour matching because it really is just a tint. I'm going to prep with, I've got the Beauty Pie, that sounded wrong, Beauty Pie Superdose Vitamin C, and this is an oxygen boosting moisturiser. I was also sent this and I've also barely used it. I've had lots of things that's kind of just been sitting in my makeup drawers or in my skincare drawers that have really only been pulled out since I've been home and going through everything, and I thought vitamin C, oxygen boosting, this sounds completely up my street. Oh, just ran up and down the stairs. I'm really out of breath now. But my manager has just called me and told me that I'm going back to work on Monday, which will be already past by the time you've seen this. Oh, it's broken. I was furloughed, and I talked about this in a vlog. I'm going to use, by the way, the Kick-Ass Super Blur Imperfections Eraser. I'm just going to use this like where my pores are most visible before we go on to the skin tint. Yeah, I went through it in a vlog and mentioned how it made me feel to be furloughed as a selective furlough. So there were 2 of us out of a team of 15. And I really felt like, well, we're being told that we're the least useful. And I knew there were reasons, you know, we deal with different things, different customers and stuff. But it really did feel like a slight. It felt like I was being told that myself and this one other person were expendable. They could do without us. And I was only furloughed for 3 weeks, but the whole time I was furloughed I was thinking, it's going to be more than 3 weeks. They're going to extend me. They're not going to rotate me like they've said. Why would they do this? Yada, yada. I'm hearing from my work colleagues that there's not a tremendous amount of work to go around, and that they were kind of all sharing out my one thing, or at least that's part of the work. And so I'm like, oh, maybe I'll be extended, maybe yada, yada, you know. Anyway, I feel really good to be going back to work on Monday because, number one, I'll feel like I've got a bit of routine back, and I'm only part-time, so you know it's only as stressful as 3 days a week. But it also feels a little bit like I'm being told that I had a purpose, and I like to think that I was doing more work than they realised, and that's why they've asked me to come back after the 3 weeks. But yes, feeling positive. Back to the makeup. Lumene Invisible Instant Glow Fresh Skin Tint. Now, if you haven't heard me talk about this before, the thing I love the most about it, apart from the fact that Lumene is more of a skincare brand, and this is kind of like them branching out into colour cosmetics in small ways, is when you put it on the skin, and I am going to apply it, ooh, that's quite a lot. I'm going to apply it with my beauty blender because I think you get slightly more coverage that way. It's so cooling and fresh. As soon as you put it on, and I usually apply it with a brush or with my fingers, and it's exactly the same way, but especially with the beauty blender, it's like extra, because it's like watery and, you know, it just literally is cooling. It feels refreshing. It is a fresh skin tint. It feels like I'm splashing my face with water, and especially in the morning time, if you're feeling like you're feeling puffy and like not very awake, it's a really, really nice product. To be fair, with the Beauty Blender, it really does give more coverage. If you apply it with your hands or even with a brush, I think it's a little bit lighter than this, but it just a little bit of something. You can still see your skin. It doesn't necessarily even look like you're wearing makeup, but everything's more even, and you can tell from my mouth, it does give something because it's kind of blanked out my lips a little bit, but it does give something while feeling very skincare-like. It doesn't feel like I'm wearing anything at all. Although I would say it's got quite a heavy fragrance, very, very similar to the Estee Lauder Double Wear. If you're not a fan of that, you may not be a fan of this. A very strong fragrance. Moving on to cheeks. I've got this Speedy Blush from Collection. The colour is Cheeky. I really like this one as well. Worth mentioning, of course, and I should have mentioned at the beginning of the video, the Lumene product is one of the more expensive products that I would usually recommend, but I think because I feel like it is more skincare than it is makeup, that's why I feel a little bit better about the whole thing. The highlight I've got is this Colourpop Lunch Money. I've had this forever and I really didn't get along with it because it doesn't work super well with a brush in my experience, so I'm going to just put this on my eyes. It's a beautiful colour. It's like a goldeny, it's a really nice highlighter, but they're kind of creamy. Colourpop eyeshadows as well I have trouble with, the ones that are these singles, because they're kind of, they remind me, do you remember those Maybelline bouncy blushes that were, like even now, just applying it, it's weird. It's like somewhere between a cream and a powder formula that is the strangest, and I just can't quite put my finger on what this is, and I find them really difficult to work with. So I pulled it out specifically because I want to play a little bit more with it and with those before I completely give up on them, because people love these. It looks really nice on the eyes, but I don't know, I'm going to try it on the cheeks and I'm going to apply it with my fingers. And I think it's going to blend out nicer if I actually treat it kind of like a creamed powder. For the rest of my eyes, I'm just going to do, oh, I didn't bring one. Hang on, a tiny little brush. So I'm going to use the black eyeshadow of this palette. It's my favourite black eyeshadow, possibly of all time. It's this little palette from Primark. And I don't know, it's just an amazing black eyeshadow. And I'm going to do a powder liner just to press it into the lash line. But I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm just giving, oh, focus now, refusing to focus. I'm just giving that a little bit more depth because I think it makes such a massive difference, even if I do nothing else, just to apply. Can you see how much this is creased? This is partly the Lumene because it's like a heavier base and I did put it everywhere. But also I'm not super keen on those Colourpop things, you know. Look at the difference it makes. It's just a tiny, tiny little thing. And it's so easy, almost foolproof, but just a little bit of something. And if you want to make sure that it stays a little bit better, you can put some setting spray or something on there to make it a little bit deeper, just to make it a little bit more long wearing. And obviously setting spray at the end as well will help, but just a little bit of something almost every time I do my makeup. Mascara, I started applying it, but I wasn't filming. This is the Lash Sensational. I love it, I love it, I love it. Someone told me the other day that I should try the primer. I'm not really a lash primer kind of person. I think it's a bit of a gimmick, but I would be interested in a show of hands. How many of you are using a lash primer on a regular basis? Is it something I need to go back and kind of reinvestigate? I'm going to use my e.l.f. under eye setting powder just in my T-zone as usual. This Lumene base is not anything remotely like an oil control product. So if you are oily, you definitely need to set it. I have a few comments when I talk about foundations and people will say, well, you know, I'm really oily, blah, blah, blah. I'm really oily. I really am. I mean, less so in my 30s than I was in my 20s, but definitely I get some serious, serious oil. You should see me when I wake up in the morning. I am very oily, but the difference is I'm not super bothered about shine anymore. I don't want shine, you know, where you look kind of greasy. I still would blot my face. I tried to put this on top of this. This is clearly not the lid for this. I would still blot, but I'm definitely more into the dewy look these days because I think it's more flattering. I think it's kind of youthful, and I prefer that. So that's kind of something worth noting, but I'm definitely oily and I don't like products that, you know, create that crazy shine. Now, with that in mind, I'm going to show you this later on because when I've worn this to work in the past, the reason that I wasn't initially wowed by it, although I loved applying it, was that I felt that it did create some crazy shine, and it did not work for my oily skin. Now, since I've been home and I've been testing it out, I haven't felt that way, but a good reason for that is that I'm going for more of a natural, not really wearing any makeup kind of makeup anyway. Right, I'm going to put on a little bit of lip gloss. This is the Sephora, it's called Outrageous Plump Effect lip gloss. This I got in Paris, I think, forever ago, and it's basically their answer to the Dior Lip Maximizer. It's the closest thing I've had to a dupe in all of my travels of trying to find a dupe for that product. This is the closest, and it's not even available in the UK. I'm done. Just a little bit of something without feeling like I've got a heavy face of makeup. And for most, if not all of these products, towards the end of the day, where they are starting to wear a little bit, nothing's looking terrible. Nothing's looking really like, oh my God. You know, if I was wearing really heavy eye makeup, as my base starts to kind of melt, it doesn't look quite as nice, or the mascara or the liner or something may smudge or run. All of this will wear nicely, even if you're not really looking after it. Hey, I'm back. It's been about 5 hours. I'm feeling and looking a little bit frazzled. And you can see a little bit of oil. I haven't really done much today in terms of like moving around, but it's definitely kind of a little bit of production here. It's an expensive product for you to be disappointed by. So I really do want to make it very, very clear what exactly this is, why I love it, and I would not replace my regular foundation with this product. I just think it's a really, really nice one for kind of day to day, if you're kind of just super casual, and especially for me, for lots of us right now, wanting to feel a little bit more put together without feeling like weighed down with a ton of makeup. And that is why it's really come into its own while we've been in this weird isolation period of our lives. So anyway, thank you for watching. Hopefully this has been useful for those of you that were considering it, because I've spoken so much about it. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe. If you've got any particular content you would like to see, let me know. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.